Live. In fact, we are live with Lunch Break Live. Take it away. Let's get cooking.
All right, let's get started. So I have the pan being heated right here, and I am gonna add oil to this, just making sure that the pan is actually quite dry. So I'm gonna grab a towel and rinse off any amount of water right here. So we're just gonna start, making this dish, which is called Aloo Mattar in Hindi. It's basically potatoes and peas. It's a one pot curry, easy to make, very quick, comes in less than like 20 minutes or less. So I have my pot heated, add a little bit of oil, and there you go. So these are cumin seeds. So basically, I'm just going to start adding a few spices to get it toasted. And then I would be adding a little bit of aromatics like ginger, garlic, onions, tomatoes, etc. While all that comes together in a saucy form, we will finish it off with peas and potatoes. So it's as simple. Like the dish is really called peas and potato curry and comes together really well. So here you go. These are cumin seeds. We want to toast them. So I'm adding about, I would say like half a teaspoon of cumin seeds. I have the heat like pretty low and about like medium low. So you want to toast them and not burn. Toast the cumin seeds, and I am adding the aromatics here. So there you go. This is grated ginger and garlic. So I'm going to chuck that in. So for those watching, my name is Priya. I am the owner and creator behind Spices and Spoons. I do vegan recipes and everything about just vegan lifestyle, advocating in my own ways. I operate out of Instagram and YouTube primarily. So you can find my recipes there. A lot of Indian inspired cooking and dishes, which is very naturally vegan, like this one. This is a very popular cuisine from the north, a dish from the northern part of India. So you can find a lot of like Indian inspired recipes on my page, as well as everything else. I do everything as long as it's vegan. So yeah, so we have our cumin seeds, ginger, and garlic right here. And I'm adding the aromatics. So this is finely chopped onions. You could use white or red onions, doesn't matter. So I'm adding about 1 cup of onions here. And you want to get that nicely cooked. Make sure that it's translucent and the raw onion smell is gone.
We welcome you all to Lunch Break Live. Chef Priya here. Spices and Spoons is just an incredible chef. Back to you. Take it away.
So while the onions are getting cooked, I'm just going to talk about a few spices that we're going to add. So the Indian dishes mostly is known for spices, aromatics, flavors, etc. So obviously we have to add our turmeric, the queen of Indian spices. So I have turmeric here and red chili powder. There is going to be a little bit of coriander powder that I'll add along with cumin. So this is like, the collection of spices is usually called masala in Indian language. So we're going to add a couple of these spices in here. There's also a very known spice called garam masala. You could add that too to, give it a really good flavor. But I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to add these basic spices and let the aromatics from ginger, garlic, and onion kind of shine through in the dish.
Now, when Chef Priya isn't in the kitchen cooking, you all, she's a mother. She has a vegan son, and they are just having so much fun creating recipes and cooking in the kitchen together. What else do you want to share about that? Take it away.
Sorry, say that again.
I was just going to say, share a little something about cooking in the kitchen with your son. I know you have a lot of fun in the kitchen with him.
So next up, the onions are nice and translucent right here. And there you go. I'm gonna add these, oops, the juice along with the juice of tomatoes. I have about 1 cup of cut up tomatoes. You could use canned or fresh, doesn't matter. I just used fresh tomatoes. And while we are adding this is the right time to add the spices, because we want the spices to kind of get toasted a little bit and also get infused with the base aromatics here. So I'm gonna add about 1/4 tablespoon of turmeric, and follow that up with about, so this is red chili powder. There you go. So this is red chili powder. You know, I like it spicy. Most Indians would like their dish spicy. I like it. I like the heat of things, but I added about 1 teaspoon of the spice here. And those watching, you will get the detailed description when we, post the video. The recipe will be there. But you can just manage it based on your spice level. So add a little less or more based on what you like. You could also add green chilies at this point. I didn't opt to add green chilies because I'm using a bunch of like red chili powder as a spice, but I would say using green chilies as the aromatics also goes really well with this dish. So that is also pretty traditional. And next up is this coriander powder. So this is just coriander seeds ground up. Extremely good for your stomach, digestion. So we're going to add about 1 teaspoon of coriander powder. And also cumin. Cumin is the same thing. So this is also ground up cumin seeds. Cumin also helps a lot with, digestion. So coriander and cumin are those best friends when it comes to digestion, along with fennel seeds. Even though we're not going to be using fennel seeds in this recipe, but I'm just saying that they're really known for to aid in digestion. So I'm just toasting all these things up. We need to make sure that the onions and the tomatoes kind of blend together and create like a saucy mixture. And you could also use add water to make the dish more saucy. Right now, I'm not going to add water. I'm just going to let this cook a little bit. You can cover and keep this for about like 3 to 4 minutes so that the juices from the tomato loosen up and it nicely gets cooked with the onions. So a little bit about again, as I was saying, like a little bit about this dish is this is very authentic Indian recipe from the northern part of India. That's not where I grew up. I grew up in the southern part of India, but this is the areas, the northern areas of India, they make this pretty popular, but it is nowadays is very common because it is a beautiful mixture of potatoes and peas. Who doesn't like potatoes? I could eat potatoes every day. And then the second is like Indians mostly eat a bread called roti or chapati. And this goes really well with that as a curry or a side dish for the bread. So, any one pot meal is a win these days, right? Who is trying to like spend too much in the kitchen. So this is a great recipe that way. Pretty uses a lot of traditional, spices. Indian cooking can seem a little complex, but if you master some of the spices, just have like 4 or 5 basic spices in your kitchen, toast them up, add your aromatics, and then add any vegetables. It's not that complex. So it is a great one-pot dish that comes together. So if you can see, I'm just going to show this a little closer to the screen. You can see that the tomatoes and the onions have nicely become mushy a little bit, and it's cooking. I can get the smell. And this is a great time to add salt. So I'm going to add salt, and this is again, a container that I got from India. My mom got it for me. So a very traditional looking ceramic pot, I would say. So add the salt and mix it well, because the salt again helps release water in whatever vegetables that you have in there. So it's looking nice and mushy at this point. So use the back of the spatula to also gently like crush or mix the potatoes and onions, because you want a really nice and smooth gravy. We're not going to be blending anything here. So it is the way this organically, kind of releases the juice and becomes a gravy consistency. I'm again kind of going to show a little close up of what I'm making or how it looks. And here you go. So this is the next ingredient I'm going to add. This is just frozen green peas. And I'm adding that right here. It's about 1 cup of frozen green peas. You don't have to thaw it, because the cooking will just aid with, thawing the green peas. So you don't have to like microwave it beforehand, nothing. You just take it out of the freezer and add it to the pan. And I also have some chopped up boiled potatoes. So I'm adding that in here. Let me show you a close-up of these potatoes. They're basically just diced. I've used red potatoes. There you go. Red potatoes. And with the skin, because the skin has a lot of nutrition, and I don't want to peel the skin off unless I really have to. So I have kept the skin. I boiled them in a container before the live started. But if you don't want to boil beforehand, you could also add like raw potatoes right here, just that the cooking time would be longer. So since I'm doing it, live cooking, I kind of pre-boiled them, and it's fork tender. It's not like when you make mashed potatoes, it's not that consistency. You want it a little firm, so it's kind of fork tender so that it can hold up its shape. So adding that in here, and I'm mixing all these spices and the aromatics and the green peas and potatoes right here. This will be a great time for us to add a little bit of water. So I have some water here that I boiled before in the kettle. You don't need to use boiled water. You can just use regular tap water. So add about half a cup of water right here. And you want to make sure that at this time you go ahead and increase the heat to about, medium to high, more towards high. And this adding water will aid in cooking. You're not using too much oil at this time. You're just gonna let the water help with the cooking process, and all the beautiful, the spices and the flavor is just gonna get spread, and it's gonna let the vegetables absorb these, right? The potatoes have just been boiled. I did not even add salt. So you want the potatoes to absorb some of these flavors and spices and the aromatics, and all these things to come together. So just gauge how much water you need to add. This will be almost like a saucy consistency, like a curry. You want to be able to scoop it. You can see some drizzling, and you want to add it to your rice or your bread and have it. So you don't want it super thick. And an additional tip that I've seen my mom or aunt do is that you can also mash up some of the potatoes gently with the back of the fork, so that it creates a thicker consistency. You don't have to do it at all, but it's just a trick. If you added more water, or if you want a little bit more of that starchy consistency to be in your sauce, you could just gently mash some of these potatoes. So, okay, I think pretty much our steps for making the curry is done. What we need to do is we want to make sure that even though the potatoes are cooked, we want to make sure that it kind of sits in the sauce for some more time and is able to absorb some of the flavors. So I'm gonna close it, and let it sit for about maybe 4 to 5 minutes before I scoop and serve. So while we are on it, I did, I just wanted to share the platforms that I operate out of. So primarily, I share my recipes and videos on Instagram. I do a cooking live series on Instagram, collaborating with other vegan creators as well. So you could follow me there. Spices and Spoons, that is my brand name, and that's pretty much where you can find me in all platforms, social media platforms. So I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. My TikTok, I'm just building it up, but YouTube and Instagram is where you can find most of the recipes. As I said, I turned vegan for ethical reasons. I was born and raised vegetarian. Being a vegetarian is very normal. I grew up in India, and it's very normal there. You'll find lots of people who don't eat meat. So I've never eaten meat in my life. I did consume dairy and eggs. So until I came to know about, the ethical aspects of, animal agriculture, then I turned vegan. And living in the US has just been easy for me. The transition was extremely easy to go from vegetarian to vegan. And all these dishes that I make are either organically vegan, because there's a ton of dishes in Indian cuisine that does not use dairy or eggs or animal products. There's so many rich vegetarian food. So there's a ton of them that I share that I don't have to necessarily veganize because they are organically vegan. So you can find those recipes in there, as well as, I experiment with vegetarian or non-vegan recipes to make it vegan. That's always really challenging and also exciting. So I do that, and I love making videos. I love the creativity of making videos. I love showing food in like different dimensions. So I like the whole process. At the same time, I can advocate for like gorgeous food that we all can eat and adopt, less, very conscious practices in our life, and not contribute to abuse of another creature for a momentary pleasure of eating. So I really focus on whole food, plant-based. Since I haven't eaten meat myself, I wouldn't be able to advise on, meaty textures or meat substitutes as much. I do use them because they taste good. I like to use them once in a while when I'm making pizzas or different kind of burgers, etc. But most of my recipes are going to be whole food, plant-based, using fruits and vegetables and herbs and spices that's already been there for years and years and years. And occasional use of meat substitutes and alternative dairy products. I do love a lot of vegan dairy alternatives like butter, cheese, the milk alternatives. They've all come a really long way. So I do like them. So that's a little bit of me and what I do in the blogging space, and my handles and my brand. So this, I just opened it up to check on this a little bit. It's looking pretty good. I do want to show you guys a close up without dropping anything. So I don't know if you guys can see it well.
Yes, it looks gorgeous. It's delicious.
Yeah, the colors just come out even further. The turmeric enhances the potatoes now have absorbed the turmeric color, so they've become this yellowish color, and the coriander and the cumin just smells add another layer. And the green peas and potatoes, as I said, like, who doesn't like potatoes? Anything with potatoes, I'm game. So this, the onions and the aromatics add, as I said, like, we don't need a ton of spices here because we want the aromatics to kind of shine through. So this is it, guys. It's pretty much, as I said, it's really a one-pot dish, and it comes together really quick if you pre-boil the potatoes and add it to the pan. The steps are like super simple: oil, cumin seeds, spices, Toast them a little bit, add your aromatics, ginger, garlic, onions, and tomatoes. Let it cook for a little bit. Add your frozen green peas, pre-boiled potatoes, add a little bit of water, let it all, come together beautiful, and you're done. It's a 15-minute fantastic meal. And I'm going to show you guys how to plate. So I'm a huge rice person. I don't hate rice at all. I do try to stick with fiber-rich brown rice and not do white rice as much. So I do have like brown basmati rice here. And I earlier today made some cabbage salad, which is also a little bit of an Indian inspired salad. I would be posting the recipe soon on my on Instagram. So I have this, the bowl made already. And what we need to do is scoop up some of this curry that we have made and add it to the bowl. And, this is how we used to eat. Growing up, we would eat rice along with, a protein, which would be a dal or a lentil curry, whatever. And then about like one or two different kind of vegetables. So diversity in what we ate was very important, growing up and in the food that I ate. So always it would be about like 3 to 4 different types of vegetables, and there would be a lentil or a bean, there would be a grain. So yeah, there you go. This is the potato and the peas curry that we just made. And Paige, yeah.
This is gorgeous and aromatic. We can all smell it from here. Find Priya on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok at Spices and Spoons. We're so grateful you joined us here on Lunch Break Live, everybody. Priya, thank you. You've been invited back by everyone who's watching. They all wanted to see more recipes. If you would like, we would love it. And we just want to thank you again, everybody, for watching. And thank you, Chef Priya, for joining us
thank
here.
you. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, everyone, for watching and giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
And we'll see you next time, everybody, on Lunch Break Live. Head over to the website, UnChainedTV. Head over to Priya's socials, and we'll see you soon.